Welcome back, everyone. We're out at the metal shop today. We've been racking our brains on how to finish off the siding around our flat roof area because we have the rain screen behind the siding and we need ventilation at the top and the bottom. We've got the bottom done, but we need to fabricate something to go between the metal flashing that's going to finish off the top of the roof and the siding, and still have small enough holes to keep bugs out. We actually had some metal laying around. It's leftovers from when we had the bus, and we never really had a use for it, but I kept telling Greg we should keep it, and now it's perfect for what we want. So I'm excited to get that done because we've got all the other metal at home already, ready to go. We were just missing this one piece, and then we'll be able to knock that project off the list.
So flip it down like this. It doesn't really matter. Yeah.
Well,
line it up.
as I'm getting older, I've really started to take my health more seriously, and in my quest to discover the best way to support my body, I discovered Symbiotica, the sponsor of today's video. As hard as we work out here, I have honestly struggled with low energy and just feeling generally run down. Since adding the Shilajit live resin to my morning routine, I've noticed an immediate improvement in my overall well-being. And that is from the over 84 trace minerals that are packed into this live resin. And honestly, it tastes really good. It's quite earthy, and I really enjoy taking it in the morning. Combined with Symbiotica's glutathione, I am getting enhanced cellular support to counter aging, and it's a powerful antioxidant that supports liver function. So I can honestly say that I'm feeling so much better since I've started adding Symbiotica's products to my morning routine. And not only are these super easy to take, but they taste really good as well. This is citrus berry flavor. It's really unique and quite delicious. So if you're interested in checking out Symbiotica, I'm going to put a link down in the description. They do have a subscription service where you can save up to 30% by signing up to it. And a big thank you to Symbiotica for sponsoring today's video.
It feels so nice to have one thing finished in this house, and that's the kitchen. So that has given me some inspiration to get another thing finished. And I've been tactfully holding off on this job because I know that Katie has had plans to go to Mexico to spend some time with her mom. And that means I'm alone on the property. And I can do a couple of the things that are me jobs, not me and Katie jobs. So one of the things I'm going to hopefully get finished today is I'm going to finish the trim around the flat roof that is on the other side of the ceiling here. I'm going to finish the trim. I'm going to install the ventilation system, and I'm going to put on the metal flashing so that is complete, other than the railing that needs to go up there. But at least the roofing aspect and the flashing aspect will be 100% complete. I think that I can pull it off today. It is a lot of work, but it'll be nice to knock one more thing off on this house 100% done. So as you can see up here, it is not finished. And it doesn't look like a whole lot to do, but it actually is, because I have to put a vent strip, some vented trim, and a 3/4 inch plywood topper to top on top of that. And then I have to put the flashing on, which I'm doing what's called a hurricane strip so that you don't see any fasteners on the outside. You'll see later in the video here. But it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work. So yeah, I'm gonna get going on this. It's tedious stuff, but when it's done, it'll be done. And that's just another thing we get to finish and scratch off our list. So this is my ventilation strip. This goes right here so that I can get good ventilation at the top of the siding. The nice thing about this ventilation strip is it's metal that we pulled out of our bus, which is pretty cool, even though it's a little thing to have some of the old home in the new home.
What I got is steady motion. What I want is what you got. I'm really rolling. What we got, nobody's stopping. So move along, 'cause what we got is something so good, so good. Going on, we got momentum. Something so good, so good.
Okay, so step number 2, now that I've got my vent screen installed, step number 2 is going to be taking the 20-foot 2x that I bought and ripping them in half so that I can use them as trim, and then making a little notch in them so that the air can vent up and then through the actual trim. If you don't understand, stay tuned and you will understand. But first, I gotta get these cut down on the table saw, which normally I use Katie to help with because it's a 2-person job, but it's just lonely old Greg out here all by my lonesome, so I'll make it work. This is a humongous piece of wood. I really hope I can pull this off here. So here's kind of the layout. I've got this to stop the wood from moving around when I'm pulling it on the other side. And it's Jimmy rigged. One of these days, I'm gonna buy a new table saw, but this thing still just barely works good enough. We're kind of frugal. I mean, it works good enough. Maybe it's not as good as a brand new table saw on a stand that we can move around with ease. This one works good enough, and it's doing what we're doing. Like, I built this with it. Is there anything more beautiful than a puppy sleeping by a tractor? We've been using this same blade, this whole house build, on this table saw. Every board that we've ripped, this blade. Other than we used a different blade for a little bit, just for the siding. Okay, round 2. So this is what I want. This right here. So when I have that installed, the air can vent up the siding, go through the bug screen, and then sneak out the top of the trim that goes over, that ties in the top of the siding. And then I'm gonna put metal on top of that, but you'll see that later. So the next thing I've got to do is I've got to take 3/4 inch plywood, cut it down to 9.5 inches. And the reason why I have to cut it down to 9.5 inches is because that's the size of my metal flashing that's going to go over top of what's called the parapet, which is the edge of the flat roof. So 9.5 inches. I'm going to cut it up on the table saw so it's real quick and easy. And then I'm going to install it. And then once I'm done installing it, then I'm going to put my trim piece on that with the ventilation that I just cut. I'm gonna put that on, and then I have an area for it to bump up against, so I know that I'm exactly where I need to be as far as lining up the trim. So again, I miss Katie. This would be so much easier with her, but it's just me. So, what went wrong here, Greg? I made a mistake, but it's not a big mistake because my metal will just float over that little corner there. But this looks pretty good. I'm pretty happy with this. Let me show you. I don't have any membrane to go over top of this. And the oldest rule in the book when it comes to roofing and waterproofing is there is always skin before tin. So I need to get some membrane to put over top of this. I'm gonna run into town and grab some membrane, then I'm gonna come back. Whew, what a day. So I just went into town, which is a half an hour drive, to pick up a roll of peel and stick membrane, which is self-adhered butyl membrane. And I'm going to put that over top of the wood before I put my metal on. But I have to cut into strips. Now, this here, because we have black metal, a lot of people don't know this. Because we have black metal, you can't just use anything underneath it. And honestly, if you're using self-adhered membrane underneath metal products, it's really worth it to get a high temperature. So this is Lastabond Pro High Temperature HD. If you don't get a high temperature, and believe me when I tell you, I've seen this so many times, where people put some blue skin underneath some metal. The sun bakes that blue skin to a melting point, and it starts dripping down the building. I can't even count how many times I've seen it happen. So it's not happening on our house though, because I've got high temperature material. Problem is, this stuff's freaking expensive, and Katie's probably gonna have a heart attack when she finds out I spent $220 on a roll of peel and stick. This is what you have to do if you want to build a house. You gotta use the stuff. I'm gonna put my hook strip on. So this goes, there's the profile of it. This goes on the outside, and what happens is my metal connects to this, and I roll it on, and I secure this to the building, so this is hidden underneath the metal, and this actually is a super strong way to keep your flashing on a building. So that's why I've chose to use it here. So yeah, I'm gonna pin my hook strip on, which is really easy to do. And then I'm gonna do a little pano and show you where I've got today. Because after I get this hook strip on, it's supper time and probably bedtime because I'm tired. Hi. So, I got one piece on last night while you weren't watching. I, in true Greg fashion, just had to get one more little thing done. And the battery died on the camera, and I figured I'm just gonna do it. So, here is an example of what it's gonna look like. It is very windy here today, so I'm not gonna do much talking, because Katie's already gonna have to edit the wind out of this clip. But I'm going to start putting the metal on the rest of the perimeter, clean up, and then call this another finished project. Feels good to be banging these things off and finishing some stuff up on the house.
So good. So good. What I got is steady motion. What I want is what you got. I'm really rolling. What we got, nobody's stopping. So move along, 'cause what we got is something so good. So good. Going on, we got momentum. Something so good. So good. Going on, we got momentum.
Messed up my measurements just a little bit, but I have to caulk the seams anyway. And there's going to be a post on top of that, so I'll be able to hide that mistake that I made. I'll show my mistake up close in detail here. Right there. Oops. It was 24 degrees 24 degrees Celsius yesterday. And now it's snowing.
Something so good. So good. Going on, we got momentum.
Can you guys figure it out? It's snowing, boo.
So good.
Juniper, what's all this? It's snow.
So good. So good. So good. So
I'm pretty proud of myself, I'm not gonna lie. I am a roofer, I'm not a sheet metal worker. Now I've done quite a bit of sheet metal working in my life, but I'm not a sheet metal worker. And any sheet metal workers watching this would be like, hey, how come you don't have an S-lock or a standing seam on any of these? And the reason is, I'm putting a railing system on top of the metal flashing, and I can't have any buildup because I want to connect to the parapet wall below it. Anyway, Katie's gonna love it when she gets home.
It's one more thing finished and it looks freaking nice. I'm gonna get the drone out and show you guys what the perimeter looks like now that it's finished. And then I'm gonna go make some supper for me and my puppy dogs.